During the lunch break, I received from one of my friends, who is an expert in computational work in the science of computers, and he's doing work in the Silicon Valley on several advanced models of computer software. And he sent me an article how an amoeba, the smallest form of life, single cell amoeba, can solve computational problems better than any algorithm that we have developed. And the article gives example of how he does it. And they say that there are something like, if you are traveling, they call it traveler city problem. They defined one of the problems where the number of options becomes very large. For example, a traveler has to go, salesman has to go to several cities. Which city should he visit first? Which should he visit? It depends on the distances that they are there. If he has to visit just 2 cities, he'll say which is the shorter one to go to the next one. With 4 cities, it becomes 3 ways of going. But with 6 cities, it becomes 360 ways. With 6 cities, it becomes even a million. As you know, they have lotteries here. They say write 6 numbers, you can win millions if you write the correct numbers out of 80. To pick up 6 numbers out of 80, people do not realize that the number of combinations is close to 400 million combinations. Supposing you have to write 1 million numbers, it's unimaginable how much the number will be. We can't even trace how many zeros have to be put in. But an amoeba can tell you which is the best way to go, even if you have to go to 1,000 cities, with trillions of ways of going. So they experimented with the amoeba, and they placed in the experiment, they know that an amoeba goes towards food and repels light. So they made different channels depending upon how many cities we visit, and increased the number. And the amoeba had to go to put its tentacles in where the food was and repel where it's not. So it very quickly it's able to find out the best combination to cover all the outlets. And that the algorithm that we have got to calculate this thing, it takes much longer than an amoeba can do it. So he said this to me, interesting thing, that what is there in nature? I said, what is there in nature to have a law of probability, which I mentioned in the morning? Or look at the bees, honey bee. Honey bee makes a hive. The honey bee has hives which are octagonal. All the 8 sides, small size, are made by those bees. All the 8 sides are equal up to the 4th decimal point. They have no measuring tools. Where do they get this specification? Where do they get so accurate? But they do it. Every year, millions of birds fly several thousand miles, 5,000, 6,000 miles, to go from colder climate to better, warmer climate. And they know exactly the route without any GPS. And we even lose the way with GPS. How do they know how it is? They have tracked those birds. They put the tracking devices, even they get transmission, radio transmission from the birds, how they are going. And they found that the birds know exactly where to stop for the night, which tree to stop in. They chopped the tree, the birds had a big problem. What kind of memory can a bird hold? And we are thinking we are far better than the birds, and we can't do what they are doing. We can't do what the bees are doing. We can't do what an amoeba is doing. And we think we are super intelligent. Then where is this intelligence coming from, which is operating in nature? They can't find an answer. They call it a mystery. Scientists say it's a mystery we have not been able to solve. Amoeba mystery is a mystery even for the computer scientist. But if you want to solve the mystery, do what I said in the morning. Go within yourself and discover what is the secret of life. Where does it come from? The secret of life, which creates individuated souls, that contains all the intelligence that you can ever think of. We are clouding that intelligence by a device given for different purpose called the mind, but we cloud ourselves by confusing ourselves. We don't use thinking the right way we are supposed to. So we confuse ourselves and we muddle our own potential for intelligence. And we have a variety of intelligent people, and their scale is very poor compared to the scale of one specific direction in which intelligence is being used by other living creatures. So it's not they are not being trained. The bees are not trained. Then how can they do it? They have the same soul. How can these amoeba do it? Same soul. How can any living form do any unique thing? Same soul. You can see, my friend has a pond outside his house in Chicago, and there are ducks in it. Chicago can get very cold in winter. All the lakes freeze, the rivers freeze, the big lake freezes. So that pond also freezes. I say, where do the ducks go? In super low temperatures, minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, ducks are there. I said, I'll come and see the ducks. On that cold day, how are they surviving? Human beings would freeze, and how are the ducks surviving? So I went there and saw the ducks all assemble. They keep the little section of the water warm. And they dive and they bring it up, and they dive and they keep a small section where they can all fit in. And they're all surviving there. As the weather improves, they scatter, they swim everywhere else. How do they do it? Where are they getting this training? They have the soul, same soul. The soul expresses its intelligence in so many ways.